We're back with another video. Today, randomly, we have an F80 M3 episode. We've been focusing on the M5s for the past couple episodes. We have the Avis blue one still in the street. I got a couple things in the mail for that, so that thing's gonna get started very soon. But I've really been wanting to get some intakes for this car. This car is 100% stock and I miss intake noise. So right now, this is the best intake for the price. This is what I believe is the best intake for the price. They're on sale, so I paid $420 after shipping and tax. So we have the Burger Motorsport intakes right here. We have the blue filters. It's a very basic intake setup, but it sounds absolutely amazing. And I think it is one of the loudest intake setups for this car. And I miss spooling. It's definitely noticeable with this car, especially being manual. You hear the turbos actually quite a bit, surprisingly, but it's just obviously nothing compared to an intake setup. So I was gonna get a before sound clip, but I don't even think it's gonna come up on camera. I do apologize for the low light. Typical video of mine working in the dark. It's Vegas, it's like 110 degrees outside in the day, and I'm still sweating. So we won't need too much. We got a couple random assortment of tools. We got our intakes right here. Car should be cooled down quite enough. And we're gonna go ahead and start disassembling, take off the strut brace, start taking out the stock intakes, and we'll get ready to throw these on. This is the before setup. As you can see, 100% stock. Everything in here is from the factory. So we're gonna take off this carbon strut brace, and then we're gonna start disassembling the stock intakes. It'll be super simple. We gotta disconnect the MAFs, get this coolant reservoir out of the way. I already took off the plastic pieces, and it's as simple as that. Now that the brace is out of the way, again, super straightforward. I'm gonna go ahead and unscrew the MAFs. There's no point in disconnecting them because obviously the new ones don't come with MAFs, and I'm gonna be reusing the old ones. So gonna disconnect the MAFs with just 2 screws each, and then we're gonna slide those out of the way, and then we're gonna disconnect the clamps. We're gonna loosen these all the way around. One right here, one right there. I believe for this side you do have to take I'm not sure if you have to take the lid off first or you can take the box out whole. I guess we're gonna have to see. I forgot. Probably the same thing. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to leave the bottom half of the intake boxes as protection and put the filters inside of them, or if I'm going to 100% remove them. I guess I'm going to see once we get to that stage, but should be there in like 5 minutes. So I'm gonna do it off camera, but I'm just gonna go ahead and loosen both of these, take these out of the way, and that'll be basically as simply as that. You do have one line right here to disconnect, but it's just a pull tab, and you just squeeze it and pull it off. Other than that, everything else is basically just mounted in with the 2 little clamps, and then there's like some push-in bushings and brackets that you just pull right out. So basically the hardest part is out of the way, and now we're just gonna go ahead and disconnect everything, and then we'll be set. Okay, we have stock intakes out. We have the piping for the passenger side as well as the piping, and I'm gonna go ahead and keep my bottom half of the boxes. I think it might look a little better, and I also want to keep as much cold air as possible. So it's kind of hard to see, but they have the little intake runners that go up from the front of the bumper and the grill that go up and into the engine bay. I want to keep that and kind of keep, hopefully, some of the cold air keep flowing through. Obviously the intake runners will still be there, but with the boxes still here, I feel like it'll at least direct more of the cold air to the actual intake and not just disperse it into the engine bay. So I'm gonna go ahead and run this. Should be completely fine. It should be the best possible solution for these. I know people argue all the time, oh, these aren't cold air intakes, it's hot air intakes, get front mounts, but this is the best that I like it. I think it looks a lot better in the engine bay instead of in the front grille, and then you don't have to worry about debris, water, anything getting in there. Everyone has their own argument, but I have the pipes blocked off with rags so nothing goes in there. I have the MAFs sitting on rags just so they don't get any more dirty. This would be a great time to go ahead and spray them down with MAF cleaner. just so while you're in there. But unfortunately I ran out of MAF cleaner, so I'm not gonna be doing mine, but they're literally 2 bolts each, so if you ever need them in the future, it's probably the simplest thing you can do. So I cleaned up a little bit, I got these out, and legit now we're ready to go ahead and install the aftermarket intakes. I've been lollygagging, and this has been 20 minutes, and this is me messing around, wiping things down, going back and forth for tools. And yep, we're ready to go ahead. So I'm gonna go ahead and start the process of putting these in. I'm not sure, I might have to take this air box back out. I think that the passenger side is extremely tight when you're trying to get to the clamp on the bottom side of the inlet. So I think I might have to take that back out. Maybe not. I'm gonna go ahead and see right now. I'll let you guys know either way. That way, if you guys are doing yours, you'll already know before me. So give me 1 second and let's figure this out. Fast forward about an hour. Things got a little out of hand, but not really. The only thing I had problem was, at least for this setup, I didn't have a tiny little snub flathead, so I had to take my air box back out in order to get to the bottom clamp on the inlet. And then the only thing with this intake setup is that obviously you're not paying for, you know, $1,000 intake setup, so I guess the fit isn't exactly what you would call perfect. So this is pretty normal that this kind of wiggles around, and it also touches slightly on the brace. I had the same intake setup on my DCT black F80 before it was gone, and the same problem. That pipe would wiggle and it would rub on the carbon strut brace. So it's not perfect on this side. Just try to line it up the best you can. It is kind of a pain and finicky, especially with that MAF sensor. Put the MAF in and tighten it onto the pipe before you put the pipe in. I made the mistake of thinking I would have enough space. I don't know why. I guess on my black car I did have enough space, and for some reason I don't have enough space on this setup. So it's exactly the same intake. I don't know, maybe this is a newer version of it. Maybe they changed it. It does look a little bit better than the one that I did have, so I'm assuming maybe they changed it over the years, because I believe the intake setup I had was legit like 5 years ago, so maybe they updated it a little bit. The only thing too is that putting the main driver intake, let me get some light for you guys, slipping it on to that boot right there is a complete pain. What I had to do was take some WD-40 and spray it on my finger, and then rub the outer diameter of the actual intake piping, and then it was able to slip in. But it is a completely tight fit, because this pipe basically remains the same size all the way through, and I think is even larger on the actual side that closes. And stock one, you can't see it, it's so dark out here, but stock one goes down an extreme amount, so fitting it into the pipe is a little bit of a pain. But I guess just work it. Try not to, you know, push too hard, I guess, on that. I pushed a little harder than I would like. So we're gonna go for a drive, make sure nothing is leaking, and make sure everything's still in working order, and hear some intake sounds finally. Excited to hear this, especially in a manual car where it's a lot more dominant, I guess. In DCT, you don't hear the blow off as much, because obviously the DCT holds the boost and you don't let off the gas when you shift. So you don't really get much of a blow off until you're going kind of wide open throttle and letting off. But a manual car, you should hear it basically non-stop everywhere. So excited to hear this thing. Let's go see if we have any problems, give it a little bit of a shakedown, monitor the codes and the OBD, make sure there's nothing popping up, there's no air leak. One thing with this intake setup, you will get random check engine light for bank 2 tooling. You are able to pass smog when it goes away, I believe. I'm not sure what would happen if you try to run smog with it, but cold start will be a little finicky with this. You will get some, not bogs, but it will jump up and down. Sometimes it's a little worse than others, but one thing that I have noticed is that running this intake setup, sometimes I'll literally go like 6 months, no weird startup, no weird cold start, no check engine light, and then it'll randomly, like every other week, the check engine light will come on for like 3 or 4 days, go off by itself. Cold start will kind of bog up and down, a little bit of a jump for the first like 30 seconds. Scared me in my first car, not knowing what was actually going on, but did some research. Everyone has the same problem. It's very typical. These cars are very finicky, especially when it comes to cold air intakes. So just be aware of that when you do install these in your car. Nothing's wrong, it's just the intakes. It's relocating the MAF on this side, and it's a lot bigger diameter going all the way through, and you're getting a lot more air with these. So let's go drive it and make sure there's nothing wrong, and monitor that OBD. Currently on the test drive, monitoring with the scanner. I've done a few polls and we are still solid with no codes, no nothing. This thing is actually a lot, not a lot faster, but it's noticeably quicker and faster with the intakes. I think it's just breathing a little bit better. We'll see if you can get a little bit of a sound clip. It sounds amazing. It's not overly loud. Honestly, wish it was louder, but I think everybody does. I do apologize. The wind noise is probably a little over the top, but intakes are on. We are spooling again and getting some good turbo noises. They sound great. They sound amazing. A lot better when you can hear it in a closed wall area driving up and down the streets. But yeah, intakes are installed. Thought we had a couple problems on the way, but looks like everything is okay for the moment. Don't want to jinx it, cross our fingers. But yeah, so far so good. Car feels great. Car sounds amazing. I guess we're gonna monitor over the next few days whether the cold start is a little annoying or if it's doing a little bit too much jumping. I shouldn't have to go back and adjust anything, but yeah, we got intakes. Oh, that's addicting. That's the only problem with intakes, is now you're gonna want to hear the spool and the blow off 24/7. I'm not gonna go on too crazy of a drive. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it around already. I got a big day tomorrow. We got a lot of stuff to do. We're gonna work on the E39 540. We gotta get that out the way. We gotta get a lot of work done on that. I test fit some wheels on the Avis Blue E39 M5 and it looked absolutely amazing, but the problem is that the wheels I test fit were 18 by 10 and 18 by 11, and I had to use spacers. Surprisingly, I have no idea how, but they actually did fit. Talking about like fender wise, they weren't poking, they looked absolutely flush, but the problem is that I believe the rear is way too close to the coilover, and I believe there's like the slightest gap between that and the fender liner. I think it'll be a problem. I haven't checked the front with rubbing when turning, so it's possible that we might run them, or I might start looking for some Apex Arc 8s or some EC7s for the E39 M5 after test fitting. I'll throw in a picture right here. After test fitting, the car looked absolutely amazing, and now I want to put it on aftermarket wheels. So we're gonna go ahead and head home. We'll keep you a little bit updated, and I'll let you know when we're back. Currently, we are back home. Test drive was successful. Scanned the car 2 more times before we got to the house. Still not throwing bank too lean, so should be very solid. Gave it a bunch of pulls, bunch of boost, bunch of full throttle, just to see if we had any hiccups or any lights pop up, but we're good. Hopefully, cross my fingers, don't want to jinx it, but I got some bad luck, y'all. Just ignore that part. But we're back, car's good. So that's about it for this video. I do apologize. Kind of hard to get a sound clip of these. With the windows down, you're just gonna hear a bunch of wind noise at a certain speed, so you only can hear a little bit, but I try to get some of it. So I appreciate you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. We got a bunch of work coming up with both of these cars, so stay tuned. And we got a car here that needs a bunch of work. Our car that's not here that needs a bunch of work as well. So a bunch of E39 content coming up. Hope to do some more F80 mods in the future. This is my absolute dream car, so I want to make this car perfect and even more enjoyable to drive. So I appreciate you guys. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll get back to you tomorrow with some more videos. So that's about it. Later, guys. Appreciate you.